So you have been thinking of moving to Kitchener, Ontario, and you want to know the pros and the cons, the good and the bad, the yin and the yang? Well, then this video is for you. I'm going to break down the top 5 pros and the 5 cons of living right here in Kitchener, Ontario. Now, I've done a similar video a few months ago, but I can tell you things have changed quite a bit over the past few months, and some of the cons, especially the ones I'm going to share in this video, are the things me and my family have experienced in the recent past living here in Kitchener. So stick around as we get right into it. Hello and welcome. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Kitchener, Cambridge and Waterloo, then subscribe below and tap on that bell for notification so you can be the first to learn about the current market in Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo and surrounding towns. My name is Dixit. I'm a local real estate agent serving Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo and surrounding areas. I do get calls, texts, emails from people just like you every single day who are looking for help in making their move to Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo, and I absolutely love it. So whether you're thinking of moving in 9 days or 90 days, be sure to give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, or you can even schedule a Zoom call. All the info right below in the description. I'll be more than happy to help you make a smooth move to Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo, and surrounding towns. We get a lot of cold and snow right here in Kitchener, and I'm not even exaggerating. I've seen it and experienced it firsthand when I moved from outside. And it gets pretty brutal and cold at times, but the winters can seem pretty harsh at times. Like, the part of the reason for that is Kitchener, if you see, it's kind of landlocked. We do have Grand River flowing through the region, but we don't have lake waters to kind of moderate those air temperature. So that's why you'll find winter airs to be very harsh and cold at times. But at the same time, we do get plenty of snow. Kitchener is one of the very few towns that does actually fall under the snow belt. So I would say invest in a good snow shovel or possibly a snow blower. If you still have budget after buying a home here in Kitchener, I say it'll be worth investing in a good snow blower. Hard water is a living reality here in Kitchener, and especially if you move from one of those towns which are located in close proximity to the Lake Ontario, you will not have experienced any hardness in the water or not too much. But the part of the reason we have hard water here in Kitchener is because we have groundwater system, as understandably we are not surrounded by any lake waters, so we have to source our water from the ground. And when you source water from ground, you're going to attract a lot of minerals in that water, so that causes the water to be very hard and heavy at times, and you could actually feel it. I mean, if you move here and if you don't have water softener installed at home, if you run a dishwasher cycle, you will see those white stains on your utensils. At the same time, when you go for a shower, take a shampoo in the hard water, you will actually feel the difference of what I'm talking about. But the way around that is a good water softener installed in the house would be something that would fix the problem for you for once and for all. Many of the resale homes here in Kitchener will come with the water softener already installed, but if you buy something pre-construction, you could always buy a water softener. Typically costs you anywhere from like $1,000 all the way to $3,000, some of the good ones. But yeah, I think it's worth considering that investment. But that's one of the cons, that we do have hard water, and without a water softener, you will see what I'm talking about. One of the other cons is the traffic and roundabouts. So traffic congestion during the morning and afternoon peak hours is just crazy from many parts of Kitchener, Cambridge and Waterloo. I mean, I could name, let's say, Fairway Road trying to get onto Highway 8 is like a long line all the way from the signal. You have King Street heading to Highway 401 by border of Kitchener and Cambridge. It's just crazy. At the same time, from Waterloo, if you're trying to get from any of the major streets like Northfield or Bridgeport to Highway 85, it's going to be very congested during those peak hours. So be patient. Keep in mind, it's no longer as those small towns that it used to be. We do have a fair amount of traffic here. But one of the other things worth noting is roundabouts are a thing here in Kitchener and the region. So this is basically, the idea was introduced early 2000s with the good thought in mind of reducing the vehicle idling at the signals. But now, with the growth that we have seen in the recent years, they're not as practical as they used to be. In fact, for pedestrians, they're not even as safe. I mean, we had a couple of fatalities happen just last year, and now the city and the whole region is actually reconsidering the safety of those roundabouts, but that can cause a lot of traffic issues even in those interior streets. What I'm trying to say, the point I'm trying to make is traffic congestion is a living reality here in Kitchener. So expect some traffic during especially those peak hours. Anywhere you're trying to head, have some extra time for yourself. One of the important things worth noting is entry-level and retail jobs are very difficult to get by here in Kitchener. And part of the reason behind that is a significant increase and growth in the student population we have seen in the recent years. And you are basically competing with the student population for those part-time retail jobs, or even manufacturing, general labor, any entry-level jobs which is not highly skilled or not asking for a significant amount of experience. I can tell you it'll be very difficult to get by because you have a huge competition of large population of students trying to get into those jobs. Now, we just experienced not too while ago, there was a job fair held by McDonald's here in Kitchener, and someone posted an Instagram reel where over 300 students were waiting in line to get to an interview for a McDonald's job. So that's the living reality here in Kitchener as of current times. I mean, there was a time and a period during COVID when things opened up where all these restaurants and retail jobs where employers were struggling to get people to stay with them. And now it's the other way around, where even those basic minimum wage jobs are very hard to get by. So if you have someone in your family who's going to rely on those jobs, I can tell you, be careful and weigh your options before you make a call to move here in Kitchener. And that's actually one of the cons. While jobs are good, skilled and experience level jobs are plenty, at the same time, entry-level jobs are hard to get by. And finally, let's talk about access to services. Now, by services, what I mean are things like daycares for your kids, general practitioner or a family doctor, we call it, for your family, things like that, or even government services, you can take example. Now, I'll give a simple example for me and my family. Now, finding a family doctor, even when we moved from Cambridge to Kitchener, took us well over a year to even get a decent family doctor to take care of me and my family. Now, I know many families that I've helped with, and they'll stick to their family doctors in, let's say, Mississauga or some of the other parts of Ontario where they've moved from, and they still do visit that family doctor simply because they are not able to find a family doctor here in Kitchener, because all of them are pretty booked, not accepting new patients. So that's a reality. On the other part, the daycare services and some of those government services, now, you might be on a wait list for much longer than you would think. At least give yourself 12 to 18 months to get to access to a decent daycare here in Kitchener, because there's a huge shortage, especially with the recent announcement of those government subsidy. There's been a demand has spiked up significantly, and that's a reality I've seen from even many families who have moved in the recent past have been struggling to even find a daycare for their kids. So those things like access to those services has definitely gotten worse, especially with the recent tremendous growth we have seen in this region of net migration happening from all parts of Ontario to Kitchener. It's not as easy and smooth of a transition as you would think, moving from other parts of Ontario to Kitchener. So be patient with yourself. Like I said, if you have a family doctor elsewhere, stick to them until you actually find a good family doctor here in Kitchener. At the same time, even government services, you will have to book an appointment or wait in long lines to get to them. I need some business done with Service Ontario, and the earliest appointment I could get is after 2 weeks' time. So that's the thing. Access to services has definitely deteriorated and shrinked over a period of time with the growth population, which obviously go hand in hand, because the more population, we don't have the resources to support the service infrastructure. And that's the reality why we have seen the access to services dramatically reduce with the growth in population. Location is another reason why we see a lot of people moving to Kitchener, actually, and that's one of the pros if you think about it. Kitchener, there are neighborhoods within Kitchener which have almost equal access, like immediate access to the Highway 401, and there are parts of Kitchener through which you will have to get to Highway 8 and then head to Highway 401. But if I were to say from any part of Kitchener, if you have to go to one of the Greater Toronto Area suburbs, it'll be about an hour drive at the most, without traffic, of course. because I have family and friends. I do visit them oftentimes, and it's about an hour without traffic. If you have to head to downtown Toronto, I would say hour 20 at the most is what you're looking at, commuting from any part of Kitchener. Now, it's not really that bad. I mean, the traffic congestion currently in the Greater Toronto area, and Toronto for that matter, is just crazy. I mean, even to get from one place to another, even locally within those towns, can oftentimes take you well over half an hour. So if you think compared to that, from Kitchener to a GTA suburbs, from Kitchener to Toronto, about hour to hour and a half, not really that bad. And I can tell you many families I've helped with, that thought process have been saying, hey, if you have to deal with attend to family or friends back in Greater Toronto area, we could still live here, drive down there and come back in the evening. It's really not that bad, guys. And that's what attracts a lot of people, is the close proximity it has to the Greater Toronto area, and obviously the Toronto, even the airport, if you think about it, it's not too bad. I would say hour 15 minutes is what you're looking at from any part of Kitchener to the Toronto Pearson Airport. So it's not that bad, and location is one of the pros living here in Kitchener. Let's talk about the work economy and the employment opportunities right here in Kitchener and the broader Waterloo region. Now, according to a recent survey that was done by the region of Waterloo, about 85% of the people who are employed in the workforce work locally within the region, while only 15% have to commute outside, especially to the Greater Toronto area or Toronto for that matter. Now, if I were to compare with some of the towns outside of the Greater Toronto area, such as Hamilton, Guelph, because these are the towns I often get clients asking and comparing their options, saying, hey, should I consider Guelph or Kitchener? Should I consider Hamilton or Kitchener? Things like that. Now, if I were to compare the employment opportunities in those towns versus here in Waterloo region, I can tell you we have very self-sustaining and diverse work economy. Employment opportunities are plenty and they are diverse in nature. Now, at the same time, as we know, there is a tech startup and a good IT ecosystem being built since the early days of BlackBerry, even to the present day. So especially if you're in IT or related field, I mean, Kitchener definitely would be a good option for you. But even other than that, the diversity of employment opportunities right here within the region is pretty fascinating if you compare with some of the other smaller towns outside of the Greater Toronto area. So that's one of the pros worth noting. The real estate landscape right here in Kitchener has gone through a significant change over the past few years. Since the early days of COVID to present day, it has dramatically changed. But what I want to emphasize more is a couple of things: the variety of real estate options you will find here in Kitchener, and at the same time, the value for money when you compare with some of the bigger towns outside, but not too far from Kitchener. So let's talk about the variety. So in Kitchener, you will definitely find a good mix of newer construction and the older and mature neighborhoods. So whatever you're looking for, let's say you're looking more like a bungalow style homes in one of the mature and established neighborhoods, you will find that here in Kitchener. On the other hand, if you're rather looking for something like modern, contemporary, new built, well, I can tell you there are plenty of neighborhoods in Kitchener that will get you just that. So, and even it goes for the budget. So whatever your budget and price point may be, anywhere from like 500,000 to 5 million, there are luxury neighborhoods, there are neighborhoods suitable for young families, there are neighborhoods for young professionals, and there are neighborhoods suitable for older adults. So whatever is that you're looking for in the neighborhood, you will find here in Kitchener, no matter what your budget is. So that's the thing. The variety and the diversity of real estate landscape is just amazing. Now let's talk about the value for money. What I mean by that is, what majority of the families I help out are first-time home buyers, and they are moving from parts of Greater Toronto area or one of the bigger towns outside of the Waterloo region. Now, when they start looking in GTA suburbs and they gradually head west, what they realize is they are able to afford a far better place for the same budget. So that's what attracts a lot of people, and obviously we have seen a net migration. As I mentioned earlier, we have seen the landscape of the real estate change here completely, and obviously I don't want to say it's affordable anymore, but the demand has pretty skyrocketed. But even having said that, you will definitely find more value for money on any given day compared to one of the towns in Greater Toronto area, while not missing out on a lot of amenities those towns have to offer. There are plenty of things to do right here within the Kitchener and the broader Waterloo region. Now, whether you are someone who likes to be out and about in the nature, I can tell you we have plenty of natural areas with hectares and hectares of green space. We have lots of parks and playgrounds scattered throughout the region and within the town of Kitchener as well. At the same time, along the banks of our Grand River, you will find plenty of picnic spots. There are lots of hiking trails, there are fishing spots and playgrounds. So there is plenty to do in the nature, but at the same time, even to do things to do indoors and in terms of shopping and dining and things like that, entertainment, your options are plenty. Here within Kitchener, we have Fairview Park Mall, which is one of the biggest malls here within the region. You can equally access like Conestoga Mall here in Waterloo, and at the same time the Boardwalk, which is the newest mall, kind of an outdoor strip mall here within the region. So living in Kitchener, your options are plenty when it comes to things to do, whether it's enjoying the outdoor in the nature or whether it's more like indoor entertainment. There are actually a number of multi-activity recreation parks here within the region and within Kitchener. Bingham's is one worth checking out. The other thing we love here in Kitchener is the couple of great farmers market. We have Kitchener Farmers Market, which is open year round, and one of the Canada's largest is the St. Jacob's Farmers Market. We do have a lot of respects, a lot of local vendors. The community here loves trying out local stuff and buying local produce, especially the St. Jacob's Farmers Market. If you're ever here, it's worth checking out. I can assure you, you will not be disappointed. But at the same time, the only thing you want to note is that we don't have a lot of nightlife and clubbing over here. I mean, there are a couple of great pubs here in the Waterloo University area. But keep in mind, a lot of those clubs are actually geared towards more of a student population. So if you are a nightlife and a clubbing person, you will not find a lot of those. But other than that, in terms of shopping, even in dining, I mean, within Kitchener as well as Waterloo, the depth and the variety of dining options is immense. So you will not miss leaving any part of the Toronto or any other part of Ontario. You will find everything you need to enjoy yourself right here in the town, at least within the region. Living here in Kitchener will give you access to some of the great education system, not just the public, elementary and the secondary schools, but for kids wanting to pursue higher education and attending colleges or universities, your options are plenty living here in Kitchener. So talk about some of the options here in Kitchener. You have University of Waterloo, which is very well known, as we know, for its computer science programs. You have Wilfrid Laurier University, which is equally well known for its business and related programs. And of course, you have Conestoga College, one of the largest campus of the college right here in Kitchener, offering variety of diploma and degree programs for students wanting to pursue education in various disciplines. So that's the thing. Let's say someone in your family is going to attend college or university in the near future, and if they decide to attend one of these institutions that I mentioned, you could end up saving thousands of dollars in lodging and boarding. As we know, rentals are no longer as cheap any part of Ontario. And of course, they would get to stay with you a little bit longer before you finally wave them goodbye. So there you have it, the pros and the cons of living here in Kitchener. After all, it's a great town. We live here and we absolutely love it. It's just that these are the things that are worth noting and considering, and you do need to weigh your options accordingly before you make a call to make this town your home. But hey, whether it's Kitchener or any other town, you can give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, or schedule a Zoom call. All the info right in the description below. I'll be more than happy to help you make a smooth move to Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo, and surrounding towns. Until next time, well, I do hope to show you around town.